Welcome to the Divorce Survival Guide podcast, where we have open and honest conversations about co-parenting, separation, divorce, and the hardest question of all, should you stay or should you go? I'm Kate Anthony, your divorce survival guide, and I'm here to help you navigate some of the roughest waters you've ever swum in and answer some of your toughest questions. I've been to hell and back, and now it's my mission in life to help you get to the other side of this process with your sanity and your heart intact.
Hey everyone, welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about practicing patience. This is the second episode in my 7-step divorce mindset reset series. This is a really important one. Look, right? Yeah, patience, of course, yada, yada. It's a lot more in depth than that. So it's really, really, really important that we practice patience, even in the most amicable cases, because divorce can be lengthy and emotionally demanding and taxing. So we've got to set realistic expectations from the beginning so that you can manage this process more effectively without losing your mind. So why does it matter? Why does patience matter? First of all, you're going to have realistic expectations. When you understand how long this takes and all of the specific steps that are involved, you're going to be prepared mentally and emotionally. And that will help reduce stress, right? When you know what to expect, you're not freaking out at every turn. And this is also going to help you make better decisions. You're not going to make rash decisions. You are going to understand through patience, you're going to have the wherewithal to make informed decisions. Divorce, listen, some divorces last decades, right? We're not doing that. We're not doing some like Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt bifurcation, millions of years in court because of a winery. No, we're not doing that. But the average divorce takes about a year. And that's not even that's average, right? In many states, you have to be separated, legally separated and physically separated for a year before you can even begin the divorce process. I think this is a good thing for letting tempers cool, for coming to that sense of acceptance that I talked about in the last episode. But can be dangerous for victims of domestic violence. It can be really difficult for people who don't have the finances available to move out without some form of support order, things like that. But my point is that every state has different guidelines for how this needs to happen. And so the very first step that you need to take in order to help you practice patience, I talked about having realistic expectations, right? So you have to consult your attorney first and foremost and ask them to outline the divorce process in your state. It blows my mind that most people have no idea. Once they've hired an attorney, they actually have no idea what the process looks like, feels like, how long it is, what are the steps. Now, I think there's a financially strategic reason that divorce attorneys don't hand each of their clients a one sheet with a flow chart for how it needs to go, how it goes in their state. And I think that's because they like you to call them and say, hey, what's going on with my divorce? Hey, what's the next step? Hey, how long does that take, right? Because every single time they answer the phone, they're charging you money. So if I would say the very first question that you ask an attorney when you interview them should be, can you outline the process for me in our state, including waiting periods, the order of operations for filings, things like that? Because every state is different, unfortunately. And what you may be up against, it might be that, once you file your financial disclosures, he has 90 days to file his. It might be that he has 30. And then what happens if he doesn't? Are we in a state where we go and file a motion to compel? Things like that, right? Every state is different, cannot express this. So consulting your attorney or your mediator to outline, and by the way, if you're mediating, you need to have a consulting attorney. I will hammer that home as much as I possibly can. I want you to ask them to outline the divorce process specific to your state. And you're going to ask some questions about timelines, required steps, mandatory waiting periods, right? How is this structured in our state, step by step? What documents need to be filed? In what order? And are there waiting periods before certain actions can proceed, right? How long do I wait before the court says I can move on to the next step? Things like that. So that you can understand how this works. Again, as I said, having realistic expectations. Whatever the timeline they give you is also going to be informed by the participation of your soon-to-be ex, and they may or may not be participating the way that you want them to. And if they're not, ask your attorney, hey, how does this look if my soon-to-be ex is not going to participate? So when you know the process, right, knowing how this all shakes out, you're going to be better equipped to navigate the journey calmly and with a sense of sort of peace and ease. Then you'll be able to be adaptable within that. You're going to be able to adjust your expectations based on the realistic timelines provided by your attorney. And you're just going to be able to stay focused on the process without unnecessary stress. The way that this works in terms of implementation, right? You're going to implement patients you're going to stay informed. You're going to keep communication lines open with your attorney to stay up to date. But you're going to trust the process, right? It's important to acknowledge that patience is essential for a smoother experience. And it will require a lot of self-care. A lot. And we're going to talk about that in the next episode. Patience doesn't just kind of come from nowhere. Patience comes from you practicing self-care. Knowing and being informed about the process and how long things take and yada, 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 that's self-care. That's like feeding yourself realistic expectations for breakfast. That's your Wheaties. And, other ways that you're going to do this is you're going to, and part of the self-care process that I will talk about is that you're not going to be obsessing over this 24 hours a day, because that's not going to move it forward faster. You're going to be meditating, I hope, every single morning, every single night. Not meditating on how scary and awful the process is and how much work you have to do and yada, yada, yada. No, you're going to be meditating on being Zen. You're going to meditate on self-care. You're going to meditate on being mindful, right? Being present in every moment so that you're not spinning out into the future or having the past inform how you're functioning right now. This is one of the things I see so often with my clients, and it breaks my heart, is that especially when they are forced to continue living with their soon-to-be ex, when it is a toxic environment and they're being gaslit, they start to lose their sense of reality, and they are so triggered by absolutely everything. And they're still holding that rope, and they're fighting with it and they're yanking it and they're flicking it because they can't stop. Unfortunately, very often they're doing that because their ex is flicking the rope in their direction every couple of minutes to get a rise out of them so that then they can go, wow, I think you're kind of mentally unstable, right? And they might be. I have clients who have been severely mentally unstable because of the gaslighting and abuse that they're experiencing. And so one of the priorities for my clients like that is to get out of that house. I don't care if it's renting an Airbnb or, renting an apartment nearby. As long as it's okay with your attorney, as long as your attorney has said, it's okay. There's no abandonment issues, yada, yada, yada. But sometimes getting out of that space will give you the mental wherewithal to stay present and patient. Because when you just want to get the fuck out of this house, you're probably not making the most informed decisions. Another thing I want to say about this is, when you have realistic expectations and you understand all of the steps involved and exactly how long it takes, I've had clients that have, some members of Phoenix Rising even, who, have posted like, okay, I filed the papers. How long till I'm divorced? Or I filed. So does that mean when I have the hearing, I'll be divorced? And it's like, oh, no, honey, you basically blew the whistle at the starting line. That's what filing is. Filing. I went and saw Grease the other night with my friends. You're Cha-Cha Di Gregorio at Thunder Road, who's taking off her scarf and whoosh, right? She puts her arms down, throws her arms back, and then the race at Thunder Road begins. That's what filing is. And that is the beginning. Then you have to agree on everything. You have to mediate. You have to do all the financials. You've got to do it right. But understanding all of the steps involved in your state is going to create the realistic expectations that will reduce your stress, have you make informed decisions, and be able to breathe and practice patience throughout this entire process. All right, my love, I know that's a lot. And I know some of it seems and feels like obvious. Trust me when I tell you that I'm doing this episode and all of these other Mindset Reset episodes for a reason. This is over a decade of seeing this over and over and over again with clients who are not practicing patience, who are not practicing self-care. And I get it. It's really hard. It's really, really, really hard. But this is what you're doing with your energy instead of picking up that rope. The amount of energy that you have expended over the last however many years in trying to get this relationship to work, in trying to get this person to love you, see you, hear you, understand you, not cheat on you, stop abusing you, whatever the fuck it is, you're not expending that energy anymore. You're going to use it instead to take care of yourself. So we're shifting away from trying to get someone else to change into taking care of yourself. So that's all I have to say about patience right now. And I will be back in the next episode, and I will be talking about self-care. It's a big one. I'll see you soon.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Divorce Survival Guide podcast. If you like what you hear, head on over to Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen in and leave me a review. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at the Divorce Survival Guide. I'll see you next time, and until then, remember, you, my love, deserve to be happy.